Hello, my name is Keith, and in this video series and this channel, we're exploring different aspects of Buddhism together. And this week's video is all about the 5 precepts. If you have any questions at any point, please drop a comment below. I'm not an expert, we're just exploring this together and seeing what comes up. And I have my notes in front of me here to help me. So let's begin. The 5 precepts. They really fit into the threefold training of Buddhism, what's called the TCK, where T means three and Sikha is training, so threefold training, TCK. In Sanskrit, it's Tri Shiksa, I think, or something like that. Anyway, I'm not going to do translations all the way through, but it can be useful to get some familiarity with these Pali and Sanskrit terms that are found in Buddhist texts. So the threefold training, let's just give a quick overview of the threefold training. There is the training in higher virtue, or Adi Shila Sikha. Sikha, remember, means training. Shila is virtue or ethics, and Adi means higher. That's the first of the threefold training. The second one is the training in higher mind, Adi Chitta Sikha. The third is training in higher wisdom, Adipanya Sikha. So those are the threefold training. Training our ethics, training our mind, our concentration, our meditation, and training our wisdom. Okay, well, this threefold division is actually quite similar to what you'll find in the Eightfold Path, where it's cut up into 3 sections, but we'll do that in another video. So Adi Shila Sikha, training in higher virtues or ethical conduct. Those are the 5 precepts. Or should I say that the 5 precepts are an expression of virtuous or ethical conduct. Pancha Shila, trying to get my pronunciation right, where Pancha means 5, and Shila, sometimes pronounced Sila, I think it's Shila, is virtue, virtuous, ethical, ethics. So Pancha Shila is the 5 precepts. But these are precepts, they're not commandments, they're not laws, they're not rules. The origin of ethics in Buddhism is different to the origin of ethics taught in theistic religions. So, for example, in Judaism, in Christianity, in Islam, there's a creator of the universe who declares what is right and what is wrong, what is ethical, what's not ethical. And following the ethical code in these religions can be done as an expression of love for the creator God or obedience to a creator God. It can be an expression of some deeper relationship with the divine, but in some cases, obedience can just be born from fear of punishment or desire for some sort of celestial reward. So this is a bit of a caricature, but we'll go with it anyway. And in secular humanism, ethical behavior can be thought of as perhaps being determined by the common good. What makes something ethical is what is good for humanity, what is good for society. Those are things that secular humanists might say are virtuous, ethical behaviors. And behaviors that harm society or humanity, well, they would be unethical. Well, that's fine. Again, it's a gross simplification, but that's fine. And there are possibly as many motivations for ethical conduct as there are people. I mean, you could study a doctorate in ethics and moral philosophy, and people do. So these caricatures shouldn't be taken as fact, but we're just exploring this together. Society has laws, and many religions have commandments and rules, and Buddhism doesn't have that. It has training principles, which is slightly different. And so a deeper discussion about the origin of Buddhist ethics actually deserves a video all of its own. For now, let's focus on those 5 precepts and what they are at a very basic level. So they are a code of ethics presented as training principles for training in higher virtue, part of the threefold training that we've already mentioned. They're not rules, they're not laws, they're not instructions to be obeyed. Buddhists really can do what they like. They're not obligated to follow these 5 precepts. And as with all religions, some practitioners go deeper and some don't. All religions are the same. Some practitioners take their practice very seriously, some don't. And we should avoid judgments about the effectiveness and the depth of someone else's practice or faith. So why should we undertake the 5 precepts at all? Well, that topic needs another video about the origin and motivation behind Buddhist ethics. It's a deep and broad topic, so we will cover that later. But there are some precepts that will be familiar to non-Buddhists, and it can actually cause misconceptions that perhaps Buddhism has rules of things that Buddhists can't do or must do. So anyway, let's first introduce those 5 precepts. The 5 precepts, in Pali, they're usually chanted, usually daily, often daily. So I'll do my best to chant these. I apologize for the terrible singing and sound quality, but we'll do what we can. They go, Pannatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Sammadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Sammadhiyami. Kamesu Michachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Sammadhiyami. Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Sammadhiyami. Suramarya Maja Pamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Sammadhiyami. So, they're usually translated into English like this, and this is Wikipedia to the rescue. First precept. I undertake the training precept to abstain from onslaught of breathing things. Again, we're not going to go into the Pali translation here. Second precept. I undertake the training precept to abstain from taking what is not given. Third precept. I undertake the training precept to abstain from sexual misconduct. Fourth precept. I undertake the training precept to abstain from false speech. And the fifth precept. I undertake the training precept to abstain from alcoholic drink or drugs that are an opportunity for heedlessness. Now, some traditions call these the negative form of the 5 precepts because they are about abstention. This is not a Pali course, so I won't break into the translation of all the Pali formulations in this video. Might do it in a later video. But the simplest translation, not necessarily the best, but the simplest way of understanding these 5 precepts. Number 1, don't kill. Number 2, don't steal. Number 3, don't commit sexual misconduct. Number 4, don't lie. Number 5, don't consume intoxicants. Now, the first 4 of those are common to many religions, but they're commandments or rules in other religions. Don't kill, don't steal, don't commit sexual misconduct, don't lie. Some religions even have don't consume intoxicants as a law, as a commandment. So that's why there can be the misconception that these are rules, but they're not. They're training principles. And perhaps a better translation of them would be, number 1, don't cause harm. It's not just killing, don't cause harm. Number 2 is not just stealing, it's don't take what's not given. Number 3 is don't commit sexual misconduct, and that needs a bit more exploration as well. Number 4 is don't communicate inappropriately. What does that mean? Number 5 is do not consume intoxicants. Well, what are intoxicants? So all of these, we could go deeper and say, well, what does that actually mean? Let's explore that in more detail. But this is just an introduction video. And precepts 2, 3, 4, and 5, so that's taking the not given, sexual misconduct, communicating inappropriately, and consuming intoxicants, they're actually just refinements of the first precept, not to cause harm. Taking not given, sexual misconduct, communication that's inappropriate, and consuming intoxicants are just ways of causing direct or indirect harm. So really all 5 of those precepts fit into the first, and each of those precepts deserves its own video. It will get its own video. But remember, these are training rules, and one sincerely trying to practice the Buddhist path will try to minimize the harm that they cause in different ways, in all different ways. And over the centuries, since the beginning of Buddhism, different traditions have elaborated on these precepts in different ways. Some have formulated them in a more positive way, stating what is to be cultivated rather than what is to be avoided. And my teacher in the Buddhist tradition that I follow, formulated the 5 positive precepts like this. With deeds of loving kindness, I purify my body. With open-handed generosity, I purify my body. With stillness, simplicity, and contentment, I purify my body. With truthful communication, I purify my speech. With mindfulness clear and radiant, I purify my mind. A purification is just a poetic way of saying be more like the Buddha. And to purify the body means to act ethically with the body, with physical actions. Now, there are lots of different traditions, even ancient traditions, that came up with their own formulation of 5 positive precepts, or sometimes more than that. But these have been designed to mirror those abstention precepts, those what we might call the negative precepts, more closely. But all these ideas are found in the Pali Canon. They're all found in ancient Buddhism. So body, speech, and mind. The first 3 of the ways that these positive precepts were presented were to do a purification of the body. The 4th precept was purification of speech. And the 5th precept was purification of the mind. Purification, be more like the Buddha. So body, speech, and mind, they are the essential aspects of human existence in traditional Buddhism, called the 3 gates, or the 3 vajras in Tibetan Buddhism. And they are how we interact with physical reality. We interact via our body with sense input, or the use of our limbs and muscles for output. We interact with speech for outward communication, and with our mind for processing and understanding physical reality. So Buddhist practice involves transforming these 3 aspects of human existence to be more like the Buddha. We should become more like the Buddha in action, communication, and thought. We can do this by performing acts of loving kindness, being generous, being content, being truthful, and being mindful. So this is a fundamental practice. It's the bedrock of all of our Buddhist training. And if we're sincerely practicing Buddhism, striving towards enlightenment, then keeping these precepts in mind and making them part of our daily life is essential. Over the next 5 videos, we'll take each of these precepts in turn and explore what it means in a little bit more detail. And I do hope you'll join me then. And if you have any questions or any comments, please do drop them in the comments section below, because I'd love to read them. Oh well, I'll see you next time.